Welcome to the questions on the skeletal system. These are taken from very real ITEC and VTCT questions for the Level 3 Anatomy, Physiology and Pathology examination. There are 5 questions on the skeletal system, and quite often the same questions tend to come up, just worded slightly differently. So these are very real ITEC questions that we've had in the past. And it's a good idea to make sure that you can answer all of these questions before taking that exam. What type of joint do the femur and the patella form? Is it A, the ball and socket? Is it B, sesamoid? Is it C, gliding? Or is it D, hinge? You have a few seconds before the correct answer will show itself. The answer is sesamoid. This is a sesamoid joint. The movements of the saddle joint include A, circumduction, B, plantar flexion, C, supination, or D, pronation. The answer is to circumduct or rotate. So the saddle joint circumducts or rotates the thumb. Where is the navicular bone? Is it A, in the face, B, in the hand, C, in the foot, or D, in the cranium? The answer is the navicular bone is in the foot. The navicular bone is one of the tarsals in the foot. What is the layer of dense connective tissue that covers the surface of the bone called? Is it A, peritoneum? Is it B, popliteal? Is it C, periosteum? Or is it D, pectineus? And the answer is periosteum. Peri means the outside or surrounding, and osteo, anything with osteo, is related to bone. So periosteum is the outside connective tissue that covers bone. Which of the following bones form the wrist? Is it A, the ulna, B, the metacarpal, C, the radius, or D, the carpal? And the answer is the carpal bones. Carpal bones form the wrist. Which of the following is caused by calcium deficiency? Is it A, gout? Is it B, osteoarthritis? Is it C, slipped disc? Or is it D, osteoporosis? And the answer is D, osteoporosis, caused by calcium deficiency. How many metacarpal bones are there in each hand? Is it A, 6, B, 5, or C, 4, or D, 3? And the answer is B. There are 5 metacarpal bones in each hand. The mandible bone and the temporal bones form which type of joint? A, movable, B, floating, C, immovable, or D, partially movable. And the answer is A, movable. The reduction of which hormone could be the cause of osteoporosis in women? A, human growth hormone, B, testosterone, C, progesterone, or D, estrogen. The answer is estrogen. What is scoliosis? Is it A, a sideways curvature of the spine, or B, an exaggerated inward curvature of the spine, or C, inflammation of the vertebral joints, or D, an exaggerated curvature of the spine? The answer is A, it's a sideways curvature of the spine. What type of joint do the tibia, fibula, and talus form? Is it a gliding joint? Is it B, a hinge joint? Is it C, a ball and socket joint? Or is it D, a pivot joint? And the answer is B, it's a hinge joint. Which of these bones form a pivot joint? Is it A, the humerus and the ulna? Is it B, the talus and calcaneus? Or is it C, the femur and the radius? Or is it D, the axis and the atlas? And the answer is D, axis and atlas. What is osteoporosis? Is it A, the degeneration of one or more joints? Is it B, an inflammation of the synovial joints? Is it C, an inflammation of weight-bearing joints? Or is it D, a disease where the joints become porous and brittle? And the answer is D. It's a disease where the joints become porous and brittle. How many bones form the spinal column? Is it A, 30, B, 33, C, 36, or D, 32? And the answer is B, 33. There are 33 bones, vertebrae in the spinal column. What type of joint do the phalanges and the metatarsals form? Is it A, gliding? Is it B, sesamoid? Is it C, hinge? Or is it D, saddle? And the answer is C, hinge. What type of bone is the nasal bone? Is it A, sesamoid? Is it B, a long bone? Is it C, a round bone? Or is it D, a flat bone? And the answer is the nasal bone is D, a flat bone. What is the cause of rheumatoid arthritis? Is it A, a calcium deficiency? B, an injury to the joint? C, a deposit of uric acid crystals within the joint capsule? Or D, an autoimmune disease that attacks the synovial membrane? The answer is D. It's an autoimmune disease that attacks the synovial membrane of the joint. What is the name of the second cervical vertebrae? Is it A, occipital? B, axis? C, atlas? Or D, maxilla? And the answer is B, the axis. What is the name of the first cervical vertebrae? Is it A, occipital? B, axis? C, atlas? Or D, maxilla? And the answer is C, atlas. What type of bone is the sternum? Is it A, a long bone? B, a short bone? C, a flat bone? Or D, an irregular bone? And the answer is C, it's a flat bone. Where is the manubrium bone to be found? Is it A, at the back of the skull? Is it B, at the top of the sternum? Is it C, as part of the nose? Or D, within the pelvic girdle? The answer is at the top of the sternum. Top of the sternum is known as the manubrium. Where would you find an example of a slightly movable joint in an adult? Is it A, between the talus and the tibia bones? Is it B, between the occipital and the parietal bones? Is it C, between the vertebrae? Or D, between the radius and the ulnar bones? And the answer is C, between the vertebrae. The vertebrae are known as slightly movable joints. Where would you find an example of a fixed joint in an adult? A, between the talus and the cuneiform bones. B, between the occipital and the parietal bones. C, between the vertebrae. Or D, between the radius and the ulnar bones. And the answer is B, between the occipital and the parietal bones. These are the bones that make up the skull, and the skull is a fixed joint. Bones don't move. Where would you find an example of a freely movable joint in an adult? Is it A, between the ilium and ischium bones? Is it B, between the occipital and the parietal bones? Is it C, between the vertebrae? Or is it D, between the radius and the ulnar bones? And the answer is D, between the radius and the ulnar bones. What type of bone is the lacrimal bone? Is it A, a flat bone? Is it B, an irregular bone? Is it C, a long bone? Or is it D, a short bone? And the answer is A. The lacrimal bone is a flat bone. What type of bone is the palatine bone? Is it A, a flat bone? B, an irregular bone? Is it C, a short bone? Or is it D, a sesamoid bone? The answer is B, irregular, which is not a function of the skeletal system. A, provides a store of calcium salts and phosphorus. B, forms blood cells in the red bone marrow. Provides hemoglobin, which gives red blood cells their colour. Or D, stores fats in the bone marrow of the bone. The answer is C. It provides hemoglobin, which gives red blood cells their colour. The lower part of the vertebrae of an adult is made up of which bones? A, 5 coccyx and 4 sacral bones. B, 5 coccyx and 5 sacral bones. C, 4 coccyx and 4 sacral bones. Or D, 4 coccyx bones and 5 sacral bones. And the answer is D, 4 coccyx bones and 5 sacral bones. A complicated fracture may be described as which of the following? A, a broken bone which damages tissue or surrounding organs. B, a bone broken in several places. C, a broken bone which has had one end driven into the other. Or D, a broken bone which pierces the skin and breaks the surface. The answer is A. It's a broken bone which damages tissue or surrounding organs. What is ankylosing spondylitis? Is it A, a type of arthritis which results in fusion of the spinal joints causing deformity? Is it B, an autoimmune disease attacking synovial joints resulting in malformation? Is it C, involved in loss of cartilage, deposits of bone tissue around the joint margins? Or D, a chronic degenerative arthritis which affects weight-bearing joints? The answer is A, a type of arthritis which results in fusion of the spinal joints, causing deformity. What is lordosis? A, an exaggerated inward curvature of the lumbar spine. B, a sideways curvature of the spine. C, an exaggerated outward curvature of the cervical spine. Or D, porosity and brittleness of a bone. And the answer is A, lordosis is an exaggerated inward curvature of the lumbar spine. What is the layer of dense connective tissue covering the surface of the bone called? Is it A, peritoneum? Is it B, pectineus? Is it C, periosteum? Or is it D, popliteus? And the answer is C, periosteum.